Speaking of Project 2025, a lot of what Project 2025 is centered around is this idea of Christian nationalism. And Christian nationalism, as somebody that does not, I'm not a religious person. And that's really what this country is all about. We have religious people, we have non religious people, we have all different kinds of people in this country. And that's what the founders of this country built this country around. They built it around all different ideas, all different kinds of people. I would be offended that if somebody came in, Democrat, independent, I don't care what party you are, if somebody came in and said, we're going to get rid of Christianity, we're going to snuff that out, we're going to make this an atheist country, or we're going to make this agnostic country, whatever it is, that I'd be offended by. Now, I know there are people who would argue that Democrats try to do that already, which is absolutely ridiculous because there are plenty of Democrats who are religious people. Joe Biden is a devout Catholic. I mean, guys actually goes to church, unlike Donald Trump, who couldn't spell church, couldn't name one passage in the Bible when he was asked about it. He got super defensive when he was asked about it. Now, he's got his name on Bibles and he's selling them to you. Are you buying them? That's the question. Are you buying these Bibles? I can tell you who is buying these Bibles, though. There are the school board in the state of Oklahoma is going to be filling their schools with a particular Bible. And I'm going to let the, is it the governor? Yeah, I think this is the governor of Oklahoma tell us exactly what he has planned for his schools in Oklahoma.
I'm excited to announce today that Oklahoma is the first state to bring the Bible back to the classroom. Today, we purchased over 500 Bibles that will be in the AP government classrooms across the state. Bible just like this. We have the Bible, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. These are foundational documents in our nation's history. Our kids have to understand the role the Bible played in influencing American history. It's very clear that the radical left has driven the Bible out of the classroom, which leads to a lack of understanding of
Remember that term, radical left, please.
American history. We will not stop until we've brought the Bible back to every classroom in the state.
Super cool. So now in every school in Oklahoma, we're going to see the Bible. However, in the state of Oklahoma, if you look here, right now, there's only two states that voted unanimously. One was Massachusetts. And if you look at Massachusetts, they're first in education, second in healthcare, first in quality of life, first in test scores, and top 10 in the least amount of poverty. But in Oklahoma, this guy's more concerned about Bibles in his classroom than he is with having the 44th. He's 44th in education. He's 49th in healthcare, 44th in quality of life, 50th, dead last in test scores, and the top 10 worst poverty. But putting Bibles back in the classroom is his top priority. Now, did you notice the Bible that he was holding up? That was the Donald Trump Bible. And when he was searching for Bibles to put in his classroom, he had come up with certain criteria that this Bible had to have in order to be in the Oklahoma classrooms. And guess what? There was not one Bible that he could find that matched this criteria, except for one. And this was the Donald Trump Bible. So this guy's prepared to spend millions of Oklahoma dollars on Donald Trump Bibles to enrich him and make up rules based on what the Bible needs to have. It has to have the Declaration of Independence in it. It's got to have the Constitution in it. It's got to have the, what was the other thing? The Pledge of Allegiance, I believe. He made up these criterias because he knows that the Donald Trump Bible was the only one that had it. So when he makes up these criteria, and if you look, state legislation says, hey, we got to spend the money on the one Bible that has all this criteria. Another scam, just another scam where people are helping this guy out make money. And they're doing it under the guise of religion. I mean, how is anybody not disgusted by that? If you're a religious person, how are you not disgusted by this? But you know what? You're a Trump voter, you're religious, you're celebrating this. You know why you're celebrating it? Not because it has anything to do with religion, because you're putting it in the face of those libtards. That's why you're excited about this, because it is triggering the liberals. I can tell you, I'm not triggered by it, even I might be a little animated about it. I'm not triggered by it. What I am is I'm really sort of angry that these people are taking advantage of people in Oklahoma or anywhere else around the country that is getting suckered into this kind of stuff, because people are, again, you're now voting on things that are phony, that aren't real. These are things that are being put together by people who don't care about you. This guy cares about Donald Trump making him money, and he's making up a criteria for Oklahoma, and that one Bible is the only one that fits the criteria. Come on, man. That's just outrageous. And that really, that, like I said, stuff like that bothers me and upsets me. But again, in this day and age, I mean, what do you do about it? There's really not much you could do about it, because this is the world we live in now. We also talk about the Christian nationalists. There was another guy that is part of the Trump administration. Well, not yet, but and he may not make it, but Pete Hegseth, I'm sure you've heard this name. And I want to share this article with you too, because this is him talking about what he wants to do in this country as far as religion is concerned, and how he wants to make this more of a religious country. Fox News personality Pete Hegseth, who President-elect Donald Trump has nominated to be the potential next defense secretary, which, by the way, he was a captain in the National Guard. That absolutely does not make you qualified to be the next defense secretary of the United States. I'm not sure. I hope people understand just how important that role is. But anyway, let's get back to the article. Recently called for radically transforming the public education system in order to accommodate a Christian nationalist vision. That, according to Salon writer Amanda Marcotte, who highlighted Hegseth's remark in a November episode of the Cross Politic podcast. In that podcast, which is hosted by two men with close ties to far-right chattel slavery apologist Pastor Douglas Wilson, Hegseth called for an educational insurgency of classical Christian schools. In the interview promoting his book, Battle for the American Mind, Hegseth agreed with the host, Toby Sumpter, who said, "I think we need to be thinking in terms of these classical Christian schools are boot camps for winning back America. That's what the crop of these classical Christian schools are going to do in a generation. Policy answers like school choice, while they're great, that's phase 2 stuff later on, once the foothold has been taken, once the recruits have graduated boot camp. We call it a tactical retreat using only militaristic language. We draw, that's Hegseth using overtly militaristic language. We draw out in the last part of the book what an educational insurgency would look like, because I was counterinsurgency instructor in Afghanistan, and kind of the phases that Mao wrote about. We're in middle phases 1 right now, which is effectively a tactical retreat where you regroup, consolidate, and reorganize. And as you do so, you build your army underground with the opportunity later on of taking offensive operations in an overt way." The article goes on, but you get the gist of what Pete Hegseth is looking to do for this country. And again, this is a lot of what Project 2025 is. It's to make this country a white Christian nationalist type of country. Now, yes, I threw white in there because you could see pretty much in the administration, how many people of color do you see in there? You saw one. And you know who that was? It was the person to head up the urban, I can't remember the title of it, but it was the urban, and Donald Trump associates urban with black people, so he put the one black person in charge of that particular post. But yeah, that's where this country is headed. If they do get their way, which again, if they put in enough of the people that they want to put in, it looks like they just might. And that's not a country that I want to be involved in. Now, one last clip. This, I know there was a lot of men that voted for Donald Trump, and, a lot of them are these guys who use terms like alpha and stuff like that, which I find stupid. But, I'm trying to figure this one out. This guy is, his name is Josiah Moody, and he's married to a young lady named Isabel. And he was recently on a podcast with, oh shoot, what's his name? I'll get it in a minute. But he was recently on a podcast, and he was describing what sex is for in his life, and that he doesn't have sex unless it's for procreation. And this is the reason why he doesn't. I don't know, fellas. This sounds a little strange to me. Let me know if you agree or you disagree.
Nothing, because I'm not going to have gay sex. And like, gay sex is more than just like another man and a man. It's just like the idea of looking at sex as such a materialistic thing, and just like, oh, well, like, we just have an orgasm and that's fun or whatever. No, like, dude, sex is about having children. It's about having babies. Like, you pump yourself full of birth control, and then you have sex with
Luke Beasley, by the way, is his name.
With your wife, and like, there's no purpose there except just pleasure. That's the only purpose.
Should people
pleasure.
who are born like infertile have sex?
It depends. Listen, I am pro like people committing to celibacy for the rest of their life. I am pro like that. And if that was something that
poor girl looks trapped, by the way. She's thinking to herself, I don't know how much longer I could put up with this nonsense, but
they couldn't have babies, I believe that they should have that choice there.
Well, they have the choice.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, is that what you believe is correct? Infertile people, no sex for you.
I think that it's...
She's even laughing at what he's saying. There's no chance. I'm going to give this maybe 6 more months. No chance that young lady is with that douchebag within 6 more months.
Crazy infertile people don't think... I don't see anybody really saying that, hey, I'm infertile, so I'm going to be celibate for the rest of my life. I'm not going to touch sex. I'm not going to have sex.
You think crazy people don't say that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Is that something that you agree with? If you don't agree with it, you could see he had his big old MAGA hat on. He's super proud. And I can tell you, man, MAGA people are proud right now. They are happy. They are excited that their man got in. And really, it's not just a celebration of Donald Trump getting in. Like I said before, this is a celebration of trolling liberals to the point where, I mean, I think some of them might even call in sick to work. They're that excited about it. Like, it's all day on Twitter with my 127 followers, and I'm following 111 people. I am going to sit on Twitter all day. And by the way, I'm not calling it X. That's ridiculous. I'm calling it Twitter. I'm going to sit on Twitter all day long. I'm going to troll these libtards because I've been waiting at least 4 years for this. And this has made my life whole. I am now at a place in my life where I had nothing. I hated my life. I hated my wife. I hated my kids. But Donald Trump is back in office. So there is a new, the sun is shining. And now I control I control these liberals and raise at my job, promotion. Who cares? If I was given the choice, Donald Trump wins and I troll liberals, or I get a $50,000 a year raise, I'm going with the trolling. That's what it feels like, at least.